What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. With that being said, man, I want to speak on Joe Flacco and the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? The Bengals and the Steelers, and the, Thursday night. This was a really good game. Both quarterbacks, in my opinion, look good. Joe Flacco looked good. Aaron Rodgers looked good. Um, I think Aaron Rodgers is 41. Joe Flacco is 40. And I've been a Joe Flacco fan because he played with here in Baltimore for the bulk of his career, and he won a Super Bowl with the Ravens, right? And Joe Flacco throughout his career has always gotten overshadowed by the guy Aaron Rodgers, right? I never really was that big on Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers won the same amount of Super Bowls that Joe Flacco. Both of them have one Super Bowl. And so I really wasn't all that big. I thought it was maybe, mostly hype when it came to him. Or at least I thought that Joe Flacco was just as good. He just didn't, he didn't get the attention that Aaron Rodgers did in Green Bay. But when you watch that game, man, you saw two dudes who really was like they just was the passes, man, and they throwing these balls on a rope and throwing them in tight spaces and stuff like that. I thought both of these guys look good. And so let me see. Like now the Bengals wind up winning that game, which was cool, which means that kind of brings the Pittsburgh Steelers back to the rest of the pack. They was looking like they was going to run away with it, but the Bengals brought them back to the pack. So now it looked like the Steelers can be they can be caught in the AFC North, right? But Jason Whitlock made some statements about the game and these two quarterbacks that I thought were pretty interesting. And I'm going to play the audio from that show, and then I'm going to react to that. And let me see. So with that being said, here we go with Jason Whitlock on what he thinks about Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland, because he brought Cleveland in there a little bit too.
Everybody wants to blame Jimmy Haslam. He's the owner. He's got the target on his back. But I'm not so sure that he's the problem. I mean, he's been a problem, and he's allowing Andrew Berry, the president, general manager, whatever, to get crossways with Kevin Stefanski and make a mess in the quarterback room. But just like I told Steve Kim yesterday, giving Joe Flacco to the Pittsburgh Steelers, to the Cincinnati Bengals, a mistake, a sign of incompetence. And just like I told Steve Kim yesterday, that, hey, man, Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's one of the most talented quarterbacks, gifted, accomplished quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League. His greatness, no matter how this ends with the Jets, with the Steelers, his greatness is unquestioned. But right now, today, who's a better quarterback? Joe Flacco or Aaron Rodgers? That's up for debate. Today, who's a better quarterback, Joe Flacco or Aaron Rodgers? And I said this yesterday. This isn't me, hey, the Bengals won 33-31 last night. Let me hop on the Joe Flacco bandwagon. I was telling you this yesterday morning.
See, I've been saying this for years. Joe Flacco, you got the guy, Aaron Rodgers. They won the same amount of Super Bowls. I've been saying, not just myself, but a lot of Baltimore fans, man, we've been saying it, Aaron Rodgers, they talking about how he throw the ball. That's cool, if he throw a pretty pass, Joe Flacco throw a pretty pass, but do it translate into wins? That's the whole thing. So, and over the years, the Baltimore Ravens has had, they probably had about the same amount of success, so I never bought into the Aaron Rodgers hype.
They're like, hey, man, I'm not so sure. And Joe Flacco throws a hell of a ball. Aaron Rodgers has lost a bit of his mobility. But there's something. Look, Aaron Rodgers was very good last night. I know he had 2 interceptions, but he was very good. He threw some balls on the run, on the move that I didn't think he could still do. He was very, but you're underestimating. There's something that myself and Mike Tomlin and people that watch the games in full, and this Steve Kim's not going to be here today. He's down in Miami for a Canes football game. It's unfortunate. I'm not going to talk smack. You guys know I love Steve Kim. Steve Kim is great. You know I love Steve Kim. But Steve, this is why I don't watch Red Zone. I'm not a highlights guy. I need the games in context. And when you watch the games in context, you could see Joe Flacco in Cleveland with that mess of a team. It's like, hey, man, there's something here.
Oh, yeah, Joe Flacco with these receivers that they have in Cincinnati just looked like a whole he looked like a whole different person. Those those receivers in Cincinnati and Joe Flacco, that's gonna be dangerous.
If he had wide receivers, if he had an offensive line, if there wasn't all if the organization was all moving the same direction, Joe Flacco still got gas in the tank. And what I'm arguing is that Aaron Rodgers is the better race car. But sometimes the better race car doesn't win the race because it runs out of gas. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying yesterday about Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest cars the NFL's ever invented.
I think, though, with Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers looked good in that game too, right? Like he said, Aaron Rodgers made some throws. I was like, oh, it was just an entertaining game to watch. Aaron Rodgers made some throws. Like he'll sidestep a pass rusher or step up in the pocket and just drill it. Joe Flacco was doing the same thing. And with Joe Flacco, that receiver, Higgins, he got 2 good receivers. I can't remember their names. Not good receivers. He has 2 excellent receivers. And so what the thing is with these receivers that Joe Flacco have in Cincinnati is you can't, if you double team one, then the other one is going to get open. Then they have, other weapons besides, Cincinnati is going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem. It's going to be hard. You can't double team the receivers because you're going to leave one open, or you're going to take turns double teaming. And so Joe Flacco has enough experience where he's going to throw the ball to the right man, and that's another thing about having these 2 quarterbacks, Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers, is they seen it all. So it's going to be hard for defenses to kind of trip them up when they know, they seen it all. It's going to be hard for defenses to trip them up. And let me get back to some more what Jason Whitlock is saying, man. That just was a great game to me.
But there's a Honda, Pinto, Nissan Datsun or whatever that's got more gas in the tank right now. Just a little bit more gas in the tank right now. And it's Joe Flacco, and he's going to beat Aaron Rodgers to the finish line. And that's what happened last night in an awesome game.
You're acting like Joe Flacco should be leading the MVP conversation. He was making unbelievable plays all night. No, he was throwing slants and completing them, which is great, which again is an indictment on how bad the quarterback play has dropped over the years, because in 2011, we saw this in every game. It wasn't the stats like this, but this sort of game plan, the original quick game stuff, you see this all the time. Throw a slant, get right behind him, throw an out, hit him quick.
All right, so that's one of the co-host was saying that Joe Flacco, he threw some slants, but the thing is, you got to pick and choose. Like, you just can't throw it deep on every play. And when he threw it deep or be like around 20 yards or they connected. He threw the short plays, he threw the short passes, to his receivers. They caught it. They caught the ball, turned it upfield, and and it was a positive game. So they was pulling the defense up and made the defense come respect those wide receivers. And Aaron Rodgers did the same thing on his side. You just can't throw it deep on every play. So you got to you control what the defense do, and then boom, you hit them for that big one, and that's why they were able to score 30-something points. Pittsburgh was able to score 30-something points because it was like a chess. It's like these two teams was playing chess. So, but if you don't, a lot of times teams will try to all right, they'll give you the underneath stuff, and then make it to a certain extent where you'll get a 3rd and long, and then you don't convert, and then that team come off the field. But if they keep converting them first downs and them plays like that, now the defense got to respect you, and then you hit them over the top. And that's what both quarterbacks did, because the wide receivers did their job. The running back, for the Cleveland, for Cincinnati, he did his job. So they avoided those 3rd down and long situations, whereas though you got to come up, and then once you come up, every once in a while they'll take a chance and go over the top, and that's what they did. I think that's what the strategy for both of these teams is going to be: strong running game, throw the slants, and then take their chances over the top a few times a game. Like quarterbacks, these quarterbacks not going to be able to go over the top every play. It don't work like that. So I thought both of these teams, the AFC North is right now, if Joe Flacco continue to play like this with the Cincinnati Bengals, I think it's going to be interesting. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check you all out on the next video. Peace.